Hello guys, have a good day. In this video talk about Apple iPhone history, the evolution of the smartphone that started it all. Dear viewers, InfoRx is an Tech Explained channel. In helpful to your tech life, please subscribe our channel and follow our social media pages. Okay, let's go to the topic. The history of the Apple iPhone series starts back in 2007 when Steve Jobs took the world by surprise with the announcement of a mysterious 3-in-1 device, which for the first time combined an iPod music player, an internet communication device and a traditional phone. That was the original Apple iPhone. And while the iPhone has changed a lot since its inception, the foundation that was laid at the start was a solid one that ensured success for years to come. Every iPhone would deliver predictably smooth performance, a recognizable, easy-to-use interface, a focus on privacy, and come with a set of features that would make it stand out. Original iPhone, June 2007. iPhone combines three products: a revolutionary mobile phone, a widescreen iPod with touch controls, and a breakthrough internet communications device with a desktop-class email, web browsing, maps, and searching, into one small and lightweight handheld device. The original iPhone was the thing that started it all for modern smartphones. While there were smartphones before it, they were nothing like Apple's iPhone that trumped them with its radically bigger screen, innovative multi-touch interface, and the first on-screen keyboard that actually worked well. It was the ultimate Apple 3-in-1, but while Apple thought of the original iPhone as a phone first, iPod second and a communicator third, it's interesting how most people would probably rank the communicator aspect as what makes the iPhone and smartphones special. iPhone 3G, July 2008. Just a day before the launch of Apple's second-generation handset, the iPhone 3G, on July 10, 2008, the App Store officially opened for business. It was made available on the original iPhone, of course, and in hindsight it was clearly as big of an event as the phone launch itself. The iPhone 3G kept the same screen size as the original, but went with a new, glossy plastic design and added 3G connectivity, making it much faster to load web pages. The iPhone 3G was also the first iPhone with GPS, the satellite communication that allows your phone to know its exact position and a quintessential part of a better maps and navigation experience. iPhone 3GS, June 2009. The iPhone 3GS was a gradual upgrade rather than a radical move, but it still brought important speed improvements and faster 3G connectivity. The S in 3GS stood for speed, as the phone was more powerful, zippier, but its most important novelty was probably that it was the first iPhone that could record video. The iPhone 3GS, new 3-megapixel camera debuted a video mode and was able to record videos at VGA 480p resolution. It was also the first iPhone with a digital compass that allowed it to correctly show you your orientation in space in maps. The rest of the innovation here was a lot about software. Core features like copy and paste, push notifications, landscape keyboard and more arrived in 2009. iPhone 4, June 2010. For many Apple customers, the iPhone 4 was the best iPhone design of all time. The iPhone 4 was the first major redesign within the iPhone series, introducing a stunning for-the-time glass construction with a metal frame. It was also the first iPhone to come with a Retina display, a new screen resolution of 640 by 960 pixels that was so sharp Apple said it compares to the natural limits of the human retina. This was the first phone with such a high resolution and it remained so for the next couple of years. iPhone 4s, September 2011. 2011 was probably the toughest and saddest year for Apple, its fans and the community. On October 5, 2011, just a day after the introduction of the iPhone 4s, Steve Jobs, the man that created Apple, shaped it as a company and single-handedly led it with his unique vision for technology, passed away. Jobs left Tim Cook, Apple's former logistics chief, as the CEO, and Cook hosted the iPhone 4's unveiling. The big feature of the iPhone 4s was Siri, the smart voice assistant that impressed with its ability to ask tricky questions with a pinch of humor and who would console you with a joke when you need it. It also set alarms and calendar appointments. The newer iPhone, however, remained a 3.5-inch phone, smaller than the Android competition that was getting a foothold among customers who wanted bigger devices. iPhone 5, September 2012. The Apple iPhone 5 brought a slightly bigger and taller display than previous iPhones, but it was not the radical change that many users expected. It grew from 3.5 inches to 4 inches in screen size, and with it came a 16:9 aspect ratio, different from the 3:2 two used before, which proved to be more practical for video, traditionally shot in 16:9. The iPhone 5 also marked a monumental moment for Apple. It was the first phone with a chip that Apple itself made as it sought independence from Qualcomm. The Apple A5 impressed with its design and speed improvements, and set an important foundation. Apple was now able to better optimize the performance of its phone to the chip that it itself made. The new iPhone 5 design was also thinner and lighter. It was, finally, the first iPhone with 4G LTE support. The display was also improved in terms of color. It was well balanced for the sRGB standard used across the web for images and video. iPhone 5s and iPhone 5C. September 2013. As competitors had already moved to bigger screen phones as the standard, all eyes were on Apple in late 2013. Everyone expected a bigger phone, but the company was not yet ready to show that. What it had up its sleeve was the iPhone 5s, which featured the same size and design. Yet still, this was an important update with two key features that were years ahead of the competition: a new Apple A7 Cyclone chip, the first 64-bit chip on a phone, years before others even had started work on 64-bit chips, and then also Touch ID, the fingerprint-based secure identification system that would take years to properly implement on Android phones. It also brought improvements to low-light camera performance and other minor enhancements. iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus. September 2014. Specs, Review. iPhone 6, left, iPhone 6 Plus, center, and iPhone 5s, right. iPhone 6, left, and iPhone 6 Plus, right. In 2015, after years of waiting, Apple, finally, showed an iPhone with a bigger screen. In fact, there was two of them, the 4.7-inch iPhone 6 and the 5.5-inch iPhone 6 Plus. The pair sold like hotcakes. It brought both a Galaxy S and a Galaxy Note competitor, but it was also clearly better designed, with a thin and streamlined, durable aluminum body. It felt on another level than the cheap-feeling plastic designs from Samsung. It's safe to say now that the iPhone 6 was an important step towards establishing premium, metal designs as the standard among flagships. iPhone 6s and iPhone 6s Plus. September 2015. iPhone 6s with its new 3D Touch system. iPhone 6s Plus. After going on a crusade for thicker iPhones, in 2015, for the first time, Apple actually increased the thickness of its new iPhones. The main reason for the thicker body of the new iPhones was a new display technology that allowed the phone to sense the force of a touch. Apple called the tech 3D Touch and introduced it to a lot of its own apps. It all worked a bit as a right click, a neat time-saving shortcut for many apps. The iPhone 6s and 6s Plus were the first iPhones able to record 4K video. Android phones had come with 4K video for years, but all of them had annoying limitations such as 5-minute limit to video clips and no ability to edit 4K footage on the phones. The iPhone 6s might have been late, but it got all those things right. Video came very crisp, recorded at high bit rates, and Apple updated its excellent iMovie with support for up to 2 4K video channels. At the time, many laptops could not handle 4K video editing, outdone by a phone. iPhone SE. April 2016. The first generation iPhone SE brought back the familiar 4-inch form factor from the recent past to the joy of compact phone lovers. But the most remarkable thing about it was the price. It was the first truly affordable iPhone, priced at $400 for the base 16GB model. iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus. September 2016. In 2017, two big things happened to the iPhone. Apple killed the headphone jack and both new iPhones got waterproofing. In a courageous, typical Apple move, the company killed our good old pal, the 3.5mm headphone jack. The outcry was huge, and while it did not affect sales much as the iPhone 7 broke all previous Apple sales records, many people were annoyed by this move. Also, the iPhone 7 Plus for the first time differentiated itself as the more capable camera phone, with a dual camera system where a secondary, telephoto, lens allowed taking zoomed-in photos and applying a new portrait mode effect that would blur the background in an image for a professional, DSLR-like look. The little iPhone 7 also got a better camera. It now came with optical image stabilization, OIS, which contributed to more blur-free pictures and better video stabilization. Apple iPhone X, iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus. September 2017. iPhone X and its signature Face ID system and notch. iPhone 8, left, iPhone 10, center, and iPhone 8 Plus, right. Apple introduced a record 3 new iPhones in 2017 and back then kept the iPhone 7, 6S and SE series available, making its overall portfolio of iPhones the biggest ever offered. This year also marked the first time we saw an iPhone priced at $1,000, much higher than the $750 that Apple typically asked for a plus-sized iPhone before. iPhone XR, iPhone XS and iPhone XS Max. September 2018. iPhone XR, left, iPhone XS Max, center, iPhone XS, right. iPhone XS Max, left, iPhone XS, right. In late 2018, Apple cemented the tradition of launching 3 new phones at once, but this time all of the 3 new phones used the gesture navigation and Face ID systems that were the way for the future of the company. The iPhone XS and iPhone XS Max continued following the example set by the iPhone X, Super Premium, $1,000 plus prices that Apple tied to the next generation AMOLED displays it used in these phones, plus both featured a dual camera system with a main and a 2x zoom telephoto lens. iPhone 11, iPhone 11 Pro and iPhone 11 Pro Max. September 2019. In 2019, Apple again launched 3 new iPhones that were quite similar to what it had offered in the previous year. The main change was in the camera, where all 3 iPhones received a brand new ultra-wide camera that allowed users to capture incredible landscape photos, as well as shoot in tight spaces. iPhone SE 2020. April 2020. Apple brought back the SE branding in early 2020 just as the coronavirus pandemic unfolded, blowing heavy hits to the economy, and the phone was an instant success. Priced at $400 and powered by the latest at the time Apple A13 chip, it was far more powerful than any Android phone in that price range. iPhone 12 mini, 12, 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max. October 2020. In late 2020, Apple for the first time launched 4 iPhones at pretty much the same time. After years of sticking with similar designs, the 12 series featured a complete refresh in the looks department, flat sides, thin bodies, and a brand new super compact form factor with the iPhone 12 mini. All 4 12 series iPhones come with 5G connectivity, a first for any iPhone, and just as you'd expect from Apple, that was handled smoothly with support for mmWave in the US, as well as a clever feature that would automatically switch back to LTE networks when 5G ones were not available to conserve battery life. iPhone 13 mini, 13, 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max. September 2021. Despite a global chip shortage, Apple launched its iPhone 13 series on time, with all 4 models launching at the same time. The series have not changed and follow the same recipe, with a mini, 5.4, model, 2 6.1, iPhones, and one 6.7, Pro Max model. The big upgrade in the 2021 family of iPhones is without a doubt the battery increase. All 4 iPhones ship with bigger batteries than their predecessors, with the difference ranging from a 10% increase in the Mini to a nearly 20% battery capacity increase in the Pro Max. This has resulted in significant battery life gains, with the iPhone 13 Pro Max in particular securing the title of the longest-lasting iPhone ever. On the camera front, Apple introduced photographic styles, a way to control the color and contrast of all of your photos, and unlike a filter, you could create a custom look for every photo you take and it would be applied automatically. All 4 iPhones also come with cinematic mode, which records 1080p video where the background is blurred and the camera can automatically rack focus for a cinematic-like effect. The consensus in the community is that cinematic mode is cool, but suffers from some artifacts and is not quite fully polished, but can be fun to use nonetheless. The iPhone 13 series also brought brighter screens for an easier outdoor use experience, and the infamous notch got 20% smaller. With the bigger batteries, the phones also got physically a bit thicker and heavier too. iPhone SE 2022. March 2022. 2 years after the release of the second generation SE, Apple was ready to introduce a new member to the family, the iPhone SE 2022. There weren't any high hopes or much hype for this iPhone before the launch, and it was mostly a modest update. The SE 2022 came with the same form factor as the previous iPhone SE, and that design dates back to 2014 in the iPhone 6, so it definitely looked ancient at launch. The problem most reviewers quoted, however, was the small for the times 4.7-inch screen that also happens to use the older LCD technology and has a lower than average resolution. On the flip side, Apple equipped the SE 2022 with the Apple A15 chip. This was not only the fastest processor in a budget phone in 2022, it was the fastest processor on any phone, period. Teardowns also revealed a surprising 10% bump to the battery capacity, unexpected considering the unchanged form factor. This was also the first budget iPhone with 5G connectivity, and while the modem did not support mmWave, it had the far more important C-band frequencies for wide coverage across the US. Finally, all of that came at a slightly higher, $430 starting price. iPhone 14, 14 Plus, 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. September 2022. Apple killed the Mini from its iPhone series and replaced it with the total opposite, a large, 6.7, iPhone 14 Plus. So the iPhone 14 lineup consists of an $800 iPhone 14, a $900 iPhone 14 Plus, a $1,000 iPhone 14 Pro and a $1,100 iPhone 14 Pro Max. For the first time ever, the non-Pro versions don't get a new processor and use only a slightly upgraded version of the Apple A15 chip used last year. The iPhone 14 Pro editions do get the new Apple A16 chip, so there is a bigger gap between the vanilla and the Pro versions this year. The design remains mostly the same on the regular version, but there are bigger changes on the Pros. The notch is being replaced by the Dynamic Island, a pill-shaped camera module. It bubbles and pops with notifications and alerts, and is just so well animated and fluid, and such a clever idea. And yes, it still supports Face ID. The other big news is that the Pro models get an upgrade to a larger sensor, 48 megapixels main camera. Cinematic mode now works in 4K too, and supports both 24 FPS and 30 FPS. Battery life and charging speeds, however, have not changed in any meaningful way. iPhone 15, 15 Plus, 15 Pro and 15 Ultra. iPhone 15 new features, all we know. September 2023. Apple unveiled the iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Plus, iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Pro Max on September 12, 2023. The biggest upgrade for the vanilla iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus was a new 48-megapixel main camera sensor with 2x sensor crop, the first time the vanilla iPhones have some higher quality zoom option. Other new features are the A16 Bionic chip, the Dynamic Island, a screen that matches the Pro series in brightness, as well as the new USB-C port. However, you still don't have promotion on these two iPhones, and they also lack a physical zoom lens. The 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max received a bigger list of upgrades. They are both built using a new and more durable titanium frame, and both models weigh significantly less than before. You also get a new 5x zoom camera, but only on the Pro Max, while the smaller Pro version sticks with a 3x zoom one. The camera updates don't end there, you also get new 1.2x and 1.5x sensor crop options, and those are both very popular zoom lengths that will get a lot of use. Other new features include the new A17 Pro chipset, a screen with much slimmer bezels and a USB-C port which on the Pro models supports faster USB 3 transfer speeds. The usual ProRAW and PRAWS recording options are also here. Oh, and you have a new action button only on the Pro models which you can set to anything you like via the Shortcuts app. iPhone SE 4th Gen, 2024. First half of 2024. Apple is expected to unveil its next generation iPhone SE, the 4th Gen, in the first half of 2024. Currently, the iPhone SE is on a 2-year update cycle, and that's why I expect to see bigger than usual upgrades this year. The rumor mill says the iPhone SE will make the jump from the old touch button to the new gesture navigation and more modern iPhone design style. Expect to see a kind of reworked iPhone XR. We still don't know much about the cameras, whether it will even get a secondary camera or no, but we do expect a newer chipset, possibly the A16 Bionic and improved battery life. iPhone 16, 16 Plus, 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max. September 2024. The next iPhone 16 generation is expected to launch in September 2024, but it's still too early to predict much about it. So far, rumors claim that Apple will introduce a larger 6.3-inch size for the iPhone 16 Pro and a bigger 6.9-inch size for the iPhone 16 Pro Max, while the vanilla iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Plus might remain at the old 6.1-inch and 6.7-inch sizes. With these bigger sizes, we expect to see the new 5x zoom lens arrive on the smaller iPhone 16 Pro for the first time. Also, it's possible that we get improved battery life with these larger sizes. As for the vanilla models, The big question is whether they will finally get promotion, but analysts are split on that. Some think this feature will come to the iPhone 17 series, while others think the iPhone 16 might get it too. We will be updating you with more on the iPhone 16 as the news come in. Thanks for watching this video. For more information, touch with us. Comment your opinions about. Hello guys.